Hello and welcome to another episode of Corey Dharma. My name is Corey. I'm a meditation teacher, a martial arts teacher, a philosophy teacher, and all-round dude. And today we are going to be talking about anxiety and meditation. And when those two worlds collide, that isn't the most pleasant thing in the world. So a little bit about myself. I have been a teacher for 15 years. And one day, one of my students came up to me after one of our intro meditation classes and said, I felt incredibly anxious during that meditation. It did not feel comfortable. And it was one of the first times I had heard somebody come up to me and say they had had a bad time in my class. And I was like, really? Okay, all right. Well, tell me about that experience. What did it feel like? And she told me that when she meditates, her feelings would start to tighten in her chest, and she would start to have a little bit of mental anguish. She started to panic about the fact that all of the anxieties in her life were kind of coming to fruition while she was meditating. And so I had not yet experienced that myself. And unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't giving her the best advice. I thought, okay, well, sometimes if you have things happening in your life that are really uncomfortable, you've had some trauma, you've had, you have depression. And when you sit and be quiet, your mind is constantly bringing in signals. When you meditate, we are dimming those signals. So like you close your eyes and suddenly 1/5 of your senses are gone. Well, your sight is gone and your brain is not receiving that information. And then if you sit in a quiet room, there's less information coming in. And then if you relax and you sit still and you get your breath nice and easy and you slow your heart rate down and you slow your breathing to barely a whisper, and your body's not moving. So your brain is not getting those inputs. And so what does your brain do? Well, your brain hallucinates everything around you constantly. That's what it does with that information. You're not actually seeing what you're seeing. That's your brain interpreting what your eyes are seeing. It creates an image for you, a scaffolding to hold on to the universe and say, this is what it is. But it's really just an image of what it is. And so when we turn down the volume of your thoughts and your feelings and your sight and your sound and your body's not moving, we're turning down the volume of all of those inputs to the brain. And the brain is left with not a lot of information. So it does its best to interpret what you were experiencing in that moment with limited information. And so sometimes that means it cranks everything up to 11. And then suddenly, those feelings you might have had about your anxiety or your depression or your doubts or those little negative thoughts, the dark side of the mind, as we call it in meditation, starts to creep in. And it looks huge and terrifying. Oh my God, don't overwhelm me, anxiety. But those things were already there. But what happens is when we sit and we calm everything down, the brain has nothing else to latch on to. So those things that were always there seem bigger. They seem enlarged. They seem like this unsurmountable thing. And so what we end up doing is panicking in our meditation. Oh my God, what's this? What's this anxiety? Oh, I feel bad. I feel really bad. I don't want to do that. And we run away from it. And we say, no, I don't want to feel bad. So we escape from the meditation. We stop doing it. For those of us who experience anxiety. So when that student came up to me and told me, hey, I'm having a trouble, the advice I gave her was meditation is a good tool, but it can open windows you might not be ready to open yet. It lets you look outside a little bit and see, oh, I'm having an issue here with my anxiety or my doubts or my work or my relationship. And it has a way of kind of clearing away the things that don't really matter. And it's easier to see some of the things that you were avoiding. And that can be a really traumatic experience for people. I told her, maybe meditation isn't right for you. Focused meditation might not be right for you. Maybe try flow meditation or try this or try that. But I had not yet really experienced it myself. But I did. I did in a big way. Last time on Corey Dharma, we talked about how I had gone to California and I was with a friend and we were all having a good time. We walked by this elementary school, and for some reason, my brain said, don't walk by an elementary school. You don't want to do that. And it was completely irrational. I had every right to be there. We were just taking the path to the river. But for some reason, my brain said no. And I started to get a lot of anxiety. I started to get like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be here. And then I started feeling tight in my chest. And I was wearing beads on my wrist at the time, and I could feel them throbbing, thump, 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 against the beads on my wrist. And I thought, ooh, that's not good. And I checked my pulse, and it was pounding, bum, 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 bum. And I was like, oh no, I'm having a heart attack. Like for real, I was like 30, 31 years old. And I'm like, oh God, it's happening. I got to go back right now. And so my friend and I went back home, and he checked me over and he was like, no, you're good. You're good. You're just panicking. And I had never had that experience before. I was 30 years old before I had my first panic attack. Adult enough to know I got a handle on most situations. I've been in fist fights. I've fallen off my bike. I've been, I've fallen off a small cliff. I've had experiences where I thought, oh my God, this is the end. But none of them were anywhere remotely as dangerous feeling as an anxiety attack did. I thought, man, this is it. I'm going to die. And I was sweating. And then I started to smell the lawnmower that somebody was using. And I could, the lawn smell of cut grass was like getting in my head. And then for weeks after that, I was having these panic flashbacks where when I smelled cut grass, I would start to panic. Or when, just laying down in bed, I would start to go, I didn't eat healthy today. Oh no. And it would come on, and it would be this really intense feeling right in my chest. And, I was sure that something was wrong. But really what it was I was panicking. My anxiety was getting the best of me. So a couple weeks after the initial event, most of the aftershocks, I call them, had gone away. And I go back to Florida, and I'm a professional meditation teacher at Energy Meditation at the time. And I go in and I go to teach my class, and I've been a teacher for 15 years. I know how to teach an intro meditation class. Sit down. All right, everybody, welcome to class. All right, now let's sit. Let's breathe. Oh no. I started to have an anxiety attack while I was teaching meditation. And for any of you who are teachers, you might know that your personal practice and your teaching practice are separate things. Running a meditation class is not meditating, not in the traditional sense. You have to think about timing, and you have to think about your pacing and making sure you're not overrunning new students, or make sure you're not boring old students. You got to make sure you have a script, maybe not a script, but an idea of where you're going with your lesson. And you get to this point where you know what you're doing, and then you encounter this new experience, this panic that happens while you're doing a thing that you really know how to do. And it was frightening. Like I was in the space of seconds, I went from being totally comfortable to feeling like I might have to leave the room. I might have to, there's 14 people out in the audience right now, and I might have to refund all their money because I could not perform. Maybe this will happen forever and my livelihood is over. I'll have to switch careers. I'll have to give up the thing that I love because my anxiety is coming through when I was teaching. And that it was such a scary feeling. But one of the great things about being a meditation teacher, a mindfulness teacher, is that you have the tools to look inside and say, okay, what the hell am I experiencing? What does it feel like? Let's put some boundaries on it. Let's put some shape to it. Let's handle it. Figure out how big it is. Make it less scary by identifying, by labeling, by examining. That's what meditation is. Focus meditations are an examination like a scientist. Oh, it's moving left. It's moving right. It's moving straight. It's sitting still. It's breathing in. It's breathing out. We are not just observing. We are witnessing. We are there watching something happen and taking notes. Okay. Let's breathe in, hold, breathe out. Good, good. Oh, now that hold at the bottom there was a little bit sharp. Let's ease it on back. We breathe in nice and calm, slow on the accelerator. Depress the brake slowly and gentle stop. And what we do is we take our mind and we observe, making notes, observing without reacting. Now, when we meditate, we are not voiding all our emotions and thoughts. There's a billion meditators out there who think that meditation is about getting tranquility and peace of mind. Well, those things might happen as a result of your practice, but they are not the goal. And if you seek them out, you will miss them. Because the point isn't to void out and feel nothing. The point is to feel everything and not react to it. To be aware, to practice your awareness of what is happening in your body, in your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your body. That's where we start. It isn't where we end up, but it's where we start. So when I started experiencing this anxiety, this panic, while teaching, I had to stop myself and go, all right, I can do this. What does it feel like? It feels uncomfortable. As shit. It was not pleasant at all. I wanted to get up. I wanted to leave the room. But I couldn't. I had a job to do. And I knew, because I'd already had several panic attacks before, and I am using the terms panic attack and anxiety attack interchangeably, and they're not really. They are separate things, but that's for somebody more qualified than me to explain. So when I'm having these anxiety attacks, I knew I was going to come out of it. I knew it was going to be okay. But at the moment, it sucked. In the same way that when you fall off your bike as a kid and you skin your knee, what's the first thing you do? Ah! You scream. You panic. Mama, my knee! Ah! Everybody did it. Every single one of us has cried for their mother when we were hurt when we were young. And some of us do it when we're adults. It's fine. But when you are an adult and you fall off your bike and skin your knee, you go, shit. That's an annoyance. Now I'm going to get blood on my pants. Now it's going to take weeks to heal. Now I'm going to have a scab and maybe a scar. And oh, my beach tan isn't going to look good anymore. It's a minor inconvenience to your life, not because you have grown so much, but because you have perspective. You've experienced that thing before. And the pain is still the same, but the panic in your mind about that pain is lessened because you've had the experience. And one of the things that I wish I could have told to my students who had asked me about anxiety and meditation before I had had the experience is, it sucks. It will get better. You will get comfortable with this. Don't run away from this feeling when you're ready for it. When you are ready to look your anxiety in the eye, look your fear in the eye and say, what do you have to teach me? Because that anxiety doesn't define you completely, but it is a part of your experience. It is a part of your universe at that moment. And you can run from it. You can go, oh God, I wish it would go away. I wish it would go away. I wish it would go away. But that's just rejecting the universe as it is. You are in pain. It sucks. And I have compassion for you, and we all have sympathy for you. But you're the only one who can do something about it. By taking away that top layer of mental panic and looking at the pain, looking at your anxiety, looking at your uncomfortableness, and going, what does it feel like to be uncomfortable? I don't like it. Nobody does. Let's get beyond liking and don't liking. What does it feel like to be in pain? What does it feel like to be uncomfortable in a room at a party when you don't really want to be there and you're feeling anxious? Take a moment and say, I'm going to let some of this in instead of pushing it away so hardly. There's nothing like making a hedge grow, like trimming it. You tell somebody no, it's the first thing they want to do. Your anxiety is probably a lot similar. At least I think so. So what I did in that situation, when I was panicking during meditation, is I waited and I knew, and I calmed myself down and said, I will come through this. I have to endure. Just be patient. Practice your patience. Practice sitting the same way you do when you're examining your breath. That's where we start, with the breath, because it's easy, it's mundane, it's everyday. It's there with us all the time. But you can look at your emotions just the same way. You can look at that uncomfortableness and say, okay. In the same way that you can be waiting in line at the bank and going, oh God, this is so boring. Why are there 7 bankers greeting me at the door, but only 1 banker behind the teller and 50 people in line? Get behind the teller and do some work. Oh, that guy didn't bathe in 3 days. Oh, that person's fiddling with her checkbook when she should have been ready. She was standing in line for an hour. Why weren't you ready? Great time for practice. What does it feel like to be frustrated? What does it feel like to sit with your anxiety? Now, caveat, not everyone is ready to face these things. You cannot force people to do it. Do not recommend this to people willy-nilly. Only do it and tell them, if you were going to recommend this to somebody, when you are ready, because it has to be your choice. You cannot be forced into this. That will make it far, far worse. This person needs to be drawn in on their own terms. So with that caveat in mind, we're going to do some meditation now. We're going to actually sit for a little while. We're going to do some breathing. It's going to get a little quiet. It's going to be awkward. I'm going to try to guide you through this in a way that might induce a little bit of uncomfortableness. So let me throw a trigger warning out there right now. I intend to lead us through a meditation where we breathe, get calm, and then I'm going to ask you to move your focus object from your breath to whatever mental panic you are having about anything. If you are not having mental panic about something, that is completely fine. I will invite you to try to remember a time when you did, or better, try to imagine something that's coming in the future that you have been putting off. So that's what we're going to do now. If you are not comfortable doing this, that's fine. You feel free to watch along, or you want to drop out of the video right now. That's no big deal. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of the closing right now, and then we'll get to our meditation. So for those of you who are not interested in meditating with us, no big deal. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below and say, hey, I'm having a problem with this, and I will answer it in a future video if it's an interesting question, because questions born from practice are the best questions. So let's do some meditation. All right, so I need you to find a spot to stay still. That's it. You can sit, you can stand, you can sit in a formal posture, you can sit in an informal posture, you can lie down in a beanbag chair. I don't care. Posture facilitates long, good meditation, but it doesn't really matter in the short run. What matters is your focus. So if you're playing music, if you're washing dishes, if you're cooking, and you're going to do this, pause the video, go find a spot, start it again, and let's go through it. Try not to multitask. Let's do the thing we came here to do. Okay. Find your seat. Rest your arms anywhere that you will not be distracted by them. Don't move them. Just let them chill. Hands on the knees, hands in your lap, no big deal. We're going to start by taking a breath. And all I want you to do is notice. I want you to notice the depth and pacing of your breath. Notice its rhythm. Notice your heart rate, if you can feel it. And your mind is going to become your focus. It's going to direct your focus to your breath. And when you catch your mind wandering, and it will, simply say, right now, I'm focusing on my breath. And return the focus back to the breath gently and non-judgmentally. And I'll lead us through some breathing exercises. As we breathe in, we're going to count. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, in your head, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to add 1 to that count, coming up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every cycle, add 1 to this count. Keep the count going in your mind. Stay with your breath. Let your breath get longer and longer. Gentle transitions. Now take your breath. Take your focus. And I want you to move it to the spaces between your breath. Notice the breath coming up. Watch it peak. Gently hold. And gently accelerate down into the next breath. Same at the bottom of your breath. Slow down gently, hold for a moment, and gently accelerate into the next breath. You can let the counting stop, but stay with your breath. Now at the top and the bottom of your breath, I want you to add a pause. A count of 1 or 2. Let it ride. Breathing in. Hold. 1, 2, and out. Hold. 1, 2, and in. Every cycle adding more to that count. Go up to 3, 3, 4, 4. Slowly let the spaces between your breath get a little longer and a little longer. Now keep your focus on your breath. Let go of the counting. Let go of the holding. Let your breath just happen naturally. Witness. Notice. What does it feel like? You're calmer. Heart rate is slowed. If your mind is wandering, it's normal. But today we're doing a focused meditation, so bring yourself back. Stay with your breath. Let it be natural. And I want you to invite in any feelings that you have. Notice them. Be a witness for what you're feeling. Maybe you feel nothing. Maybe you're calm, peaceful, and relaxed. That's excellent. But allow your mind to bring in the feelings you've had over the past week, over the past month. Let in a little bit of that uncertainty, the doubts, the worry. There's a lot of it going on right now. Concern about our health, health for others, concerns about money, concerns about being stuck inside. Let a little bit of it in. And I want you to examine those feelings and say, what does it feel like? It helps a lot of people to ask, where in the body do you feel it when you feel anxious or angry, when you're worried? I think it's different for everyone, but most people have some sort of physical response to their emotions. I felt my anxiety around my heart. It felt tight. I feel anger around my eyebrows and the back of my head. Maybe it's different for you, or maybe you don't have a physical location, but the point is, let that awareness in of the shape of it. Is it big? Is it small? Is there a color that you associate with it? Everyone's going to be different, and not everyone's going to experience this, so don't worry if you don't. But try to give physical descriptive language to explain what it feels like to have anxiety. Where, size, shape, color. Maybe it's not perfectly accurate, but I invite you to use that language anyway to help you get a handle on the scaffolding of that emotion. When I remember my anxiety, my heart rate goes up. I worry that I might trigger myself back into it. That's okay. Don't be afraid. It's just your body and your mind, and that's all you have. Some of those experiences are not pleasant. Let's decide to face that unpleasantness calmly, like a scientist, examining the feeling. What does it feel like when I'm anxious? What does it feel like? Accept that that is your reality in that moment. Don't push it away. Don't pull it towards you. Just be with it. If you have trouble with an emotion, you can do the same thing with a numb leg when you meditate. Like getting numb, doesn't feel good. Maybe back pain or shoulder pain, maybe a headache. The next time you have one of these things and have a moment, sit with it and say, what is it like to have this experience? Break it down in your mind. Where do you feel it? Can you endure it? Not just grin and bear it, not tense, but relax. Let yourself experience this negativity. knowing it will pass. Take that moment. Smile at it. Get curious about it. The same way that a kid gets really excited about a bug crawling on the ground. It's going left, it's going right, it's doing this, not touching it, just letting it do its thing. Just taking notes in your mind. Where is my anxiety going? My heart rate increases. My chest becomes constricted. My breathing gets a little irregular. It's okay. Don't panic. Relax and observe. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Choose to be there anyway. Not for harm, but for curiosity. Remind yourself that this too will pass. The comfort that you feel being uncomfortable won't last. And neither will be discomfort. It will pass. And you will feel better again. But the point is not to feel good. The point is to feel, to be there for it. Because as much as we all love our adventures and our excitement and our parties, you're alive just as much when you're washing dishes or when your body aches, when you have heartbreak. Lean into it a little bit. Accept it as a part of your existence and not just run away from uncomfortableness. And you will earn perseverance, patience. You'll earn an emotional tenacity to weather the storm. Because we don't want to wish for a lighter burden. We want to wish for a stronger back. And we get that by practicing. In the same way that going to the gym makes you stronger, practicing mindfulness meditation through negative experiences can make you stronger. By weakening yourself, allowing it to come in, by being vulnerable to these emotions, that's where we find strength. Not by denying and building walls, but by learning about what it feels like and realizing, like skinning your knee as a kid and then skinning it as an adult, it wasn't so bad. Most of the pain was up here, the panic. The physical pain's still there, emotional tightness in the chest. Wherever you feel your anxiety or your negative emotions, that's real. But the reality is that most of it lasts up here. And this makes it worse. Not by focusing on it, but by wallowing in it, by running from it, by feeling turbulent. So when you are ready and calm, allow it to persist. Allow yourself to exist in a state that is uncomfortable. Bring your focus back to your breath, away from your emotions. Shake your shoulders. Shake your body. Feel it. What does it feel like to shake? Remind yourself of your physicality. Take another deep breath. Felt pretty good, right? Let's take another one. Yeah. All right. Maybe this experience wasn't super powerful for you. That's okay. You can still practice, because sooner or later you are going to have an emotional experience that knocks your socks off. It happens. It's life. Someone you know will pass away, and it's going to hurt. You might get your heart broken. You probably will. I have, and it sucks. But man, let me tell you, last couple times I had my heart broken, I was weeping like a sobby mess, but I stayed with it. It made me realize, oh man, feeling sad is beautiful. It's like you're a walking poem. It's the same way with your anxiety. It's uncomfortable in the moment, but if you allow yourself to engage with it, it can become fascinating. You can become familiar with it. You give it shape and sound and sight and color, and you think that your anxiety used to be this big, cumbersome thing that you couldn't deal with, and now it's actually manageable because you've gotten to know it. You've used your own mind to educate yourself about your experiences. And that's what meditation and mindfulness is all about. So thank you guys for joining me today. I know this meditation is a little bit weird. Most meditators don't ask you to go to the dark side and feel the uncomfortableness, but I do, because I like that kind of stuff. I like seeing the dark side of the mind because it is part of life just as much as the light side of the mind. And I think that when we examine our doubts, our fears, our anxieties, what holds us back from being the person that we need to be, that we're going to learn about ourselves in a way that is just mind-blowing, that our experiences can be doubled simply by accepting what is and not pushing away the things that we don't like and clinging to the things we do like, because after all, if that's the second noble truth right there, the cause of suffering, clinging. But that's all right. I think that's enough for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Again, my name is Corey Dharma, and I do weekly meditation and mindfulness talks, lectures, philosophy here on YouTube for free. If you found this at all helpful or beneficial to you, and you have the means to do so, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I am a teacher, and right now I can't teach any students because of coronavirus, and that isn't so great for the wallet. So you can support me at patreon.com/Corey Dharma. That's CORYDHARMA. Link is in the doobly-doo. And I have a podcast called Mindfulness of Doom. That's the sticker right there. You can get one of those stickers if you go to our website, mindfulnessofdoom.com. And you can listen to any one of our episodes. We've got 46 episodes of backlog that you guys might find entertaining. There's some good stuff on there. You can find it everywhere podcasts of all quality can be found. And again, thank you so much. Please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really helps. And if not, there will be free content here. Patreon supporters get extra stuff. I'm in the middle of making some really good, juicy videos. The stuff here on YouTube is general audience stuff, but I'm going to get into the really deep, nitty-gritty stuff for my patrons. And you get private lessons and some Q&As. I can help you on your path by pointing out the pitfalls or showing, oh, you're on this path, well, maybe read this book, or, oh, you're on that path, okay, let's try this meditation next, and kind of guide you and lead you farther where you need to be, because we're all going up the mountain, and there's a lot of paths up there, and I'm not the mountain, but I'm a little bit taller than some people. I'm quite a tall individual, and I can see the path just a little bit better. So I'm going to point out over there for you to help you along. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys in the live chat for checking us out. Zane the Poet, you were amazing. And Nicole Jonas, you were one of the best students I've ever had. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Please, thank you. Like, share, and subscribe, and consider supporting me. And I will see you next time.